All right, good afternoon, my fourth grade family. This is Mr. J. I sent the kiddos with a customary conversion charts, right? So first they started off with length. So they would see, what a yard, how many feet a yard has, how many inches a foot has. And then they would work out problems with a mixture of. So they would say, okay, if I have 2 feet, how many inches is that? If I have 18 feet, how many inches is that? So they would know by looking at the conversion chart. So if every foot has 12 inches and you're requesting, let's say 36 inches or 48 inches, then you would know it's 4 feet. Okay. So they would use this chart. I would need them to study this chart. So parents, if you can, just sit in front of them and just make up a couple of things. You would say, okay, how many cups are in 3 pints? Or how many cups are in 3 quarts? Or what is half a gallon in quarts? Stuff like that. They went over the conversion of pound and ounces, right? So for every pound, there's 16 ounces. Okay. So the first lesson was selecting the tool. What tool would be appropriate? Okay. So for example, if I want to measure a pencil, would I use a yardstick or would I use a ruler? If I wanted to, check the temperature, am I using a tape measure or a thermometer? So the tools are what we use to measure. The unit is the name of the measurement we use. So what are we measuring in? So are we measuring in inches, in feet, in pounds, in cups, in degrees, in ounces? Okay. Attributes is what are we measuring from the object? Is it the height, the weight, temperature, the volume? Okay. So that's what we've been working on lately. And they're pretty much getting it. Okay, this here is the capacity conversion chart. Okay, so how much capacity does one container have? And they've been using this conversion here. So we did length, we did weight. Okay, capacity, and then weight. We've been doing weight. 1 pound equals 16 ounces, and then they've been working with different problems concerning that. So for example, let's see, today we did pounds. So they would solve problems like this. Like you have 160 ounces. How many would that be in pounds? So they would look at the conversion and they would figure that out. Okay. So if I have 160 ounces, how many pounds would that be? If I know that every pound has 16 ounces, this would be 10 pounds. Okay. Another couple of problems that they're working on here would be the capacities. Okay, so for every 2 cups, how many pints is that? So they would look in here, 2 cups, that would be 1 pint. 4 pints, so look at 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. How many gallons would that be? So 1, 2, 3, 4, that would be half a gallon. Okay, and so on and so forth. So parents, if you can, just, if you could just make up a couple of problems for them to practice over the weekend. This is the length, right? So measuring length in inches. So 24 inches, right? We want to know what that is in feet. So 24 inches would be 12 and 12. That would be 2 feet. Okay. They throw a little bit of some tricky ones in there. So fractions in there. So 2/3 of a yard. Okay. So you would put a yard and 2/3 of it. So you'd have to break that yard into 3. 1, 2, 3. And 2 out of the 3, right, would be 2 feet. Okay. So 2/3 of a yard would be 2 feet. 10 feet. How much would it be in inches? Okay. So obviously you would need 10 of these, right? And then you would multiply. Okay. You would multiply the amount that they're requesting into inches. So 10 feet times 12 would be 120. Okay. And so on and so forth. So these are the type of things that we've been working on. Okay. I'm sorry I haven't been posting too much videos, but it's been a little bit hectic with FAST and all the exams and trying to catch up with everything. But if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to give me a call. As always, I'm always available. Just shoot me a message and I'll definitely be reaching out. All right, guys, have a great weekend. Remember, study your conversion charts, right? They all have a copy of it. This is the actual sheet that they're going to be using for the fast test, so they could really, really nail down on that and understand that. Okay? All right, guys, have a great night. Bye-bye. All right, guys, I just want to add to the video here. This is a little tip chart that we created here. If you're converting a small unit into a large unit, you have to divide. If you're converting a large unit into a small, you have to multiply. Units are what we measure in, right? The name of the measurement we use. So inches, feet, pounds, cups, degrees, ounces, right? So a small unit, like inches, into a large unit, like feet, you have to divide. Now, vice versa. A large unit, like yards, into a smaller unit than yards, which would be feet, you have to multiply. Okay? What do you mean, Mr. J? Okay, so let's do the first one. We have a small unit. So let's say we have 36 inches. Okay, 36 inches. And we're converting that into a larger unit. So let's say feet. Okay? So we're converting 36 inches into feet. Now you have to know, right, that every foot is 12 inches. Okay? That's something that has to be in your mind. And this is where the conversion charts come in and memorizing it. Because if you know this, then you're able to figure out what 36 inches is in feet. So if you divide 36 divided by 12, see, smaller unit, okay, into a larger unit, you divide. 36 divided by 12 would be 3 feet. Okay? Now let's do the opposite. If you take a larger unit, okay, a larger unit would be, let's say, 12 yards. Okay? And we're converting that into a smaller unit. I have to what? Multiply. So 12 yards into feet. What would that be? How much is 12 yards in feet? Now, the one thing that I need you all to remember is that for every yard, it's equal to 3 feet. Okay? For every yard, it's equal to 3 feet. And excuse my writing here. Okay? So now I know. All right. Larger unit into a smaller unit, I have to multiply. I have to multiply, okay, how many yards, right, in feet would 12 yards be? So I have to multiply 12 times 3 to figure out what the feet is. Okay, so I just converted every yard into feet, which is 3. And I have to multiply how many yards is that. So I multiply 12 times 3. Okay, now if you don't know how to multiply, which all of you should, but if you don't, you use the area model. Okay, this is the one strategy they've been mastering. Okay, I know for us parents is a little pain, but they could get it. Okay, takes a little longer, but 3 times 10 is 30. 3 times 2 is 6, and you add those two, which is 36. Okay, you add them, it's 36. So how many feet is 12 yards? 36 feet. Okay, so that's how that would work. All right, if you know how to do the standard algorithm, 12 times 3, you first do 2 times 3, 6, and then you go across. 3 times 1 is 36. Okay? And there you go. So this little tip chart kind of helps. All right? But again, they need to memorize that conversion chart. All right, guys. Have a great weekend. I'll see you on Monday. Monday. And the quiz is on Monday. So that's why I'm needing them to study this. Okay? So it's going to be like maybe a 10 to 15 question quiz. All right. Have a great weekend, guys. Bye-bye.